case for electric vehicles may just seem too debatable an issue to ponder upon, but some numbers suggest real potential and prospects of future growth. The National Council of Electric Mobility has a target to see about 6 to 7 million electric vehicles on the roads of India by 2020, which by far is too aggressive a target, and a major chunk of this has to come from electric two-wheelers. Electric vehicles are a good buy to the rising fuel prices, but need constant charging, are maverick inventions of sorts, and have a battery that will cost a fortune when replacement is needed. So who are these drivers of change, strengthening the case for electric vehicles in India and encouraging companies to jump on the e-vehicle bandwagon and co-conceiving the zero-emission dream with the industry?
I think people are definitely concerned about environment, but they are concerned to a point that it does not start to hurt the pocket.
आज दुनिया में there's a need for to think about the global warming and the pollution that we guys are creating. So I think it is very helpful in reducing that.
Because petrol is very costly and it's very difficult for you to ask again and again for the petrol amount from your parents that Ma, I want to go here and there, so give me the amount. So that's why I bought the electric scooty, so it will not be a burdensome for my parents.
There is a lot of concern about what kind of charging facilities are required. How can I charge my car when I'm parking it in an apartment or a high-rise apartment? How do I get charging for that? How do I provide for charging? When I go for shopping, how do I provide for charging? So unless that support infrastructure comes in, battery electric vehicles will continue to be will not be the preferred choice of consumers.
First floor. It's on the first floor. Yeah, it's on the first floor. So I've got it. The provision of it has been created on the ground floor so that we can easily charge it and we can easily put the scooty along with the charger. Yeah, we basically put it overnight because it's more convenient to ride all the day and put it on the charging overnight. So
when I got the Mahindra E2O to test, I had serious concerns about how I would charge it. Now I live on the first floor and we don't have any designated parking spots in our colony. And so I said, let's make some arrangements to charge it. So what I did is I went to an electrician and got a 30-meter cable made, which would reach from the first floor down to where I parked the car. And this is the kind of arrangement. And it worked perfectly. And what did it cost me? 1,300 rupees for 30 meters of cable and the socket and plug. And that's less than a tank of diesel I would put in my normal car, which is a Scorpio.
Please keep in mind that electric vehicles per se, do offer a reasonable option. The only thing is that consumers are extremely anxious about the range that the car can offer. I think, as we call it, the range anxiety. India is if you look at the traffic situations in an average city like Delhi, or for that matter Mumbai, you are looking at highly congested roads. Now when you say, and that goes for the cars that are being launched from Mahindra and everybody else, you're looking at 100-120 kilometers on average, the running per charge. In that kind of a scenario, you are basically going to be challenged not only by continuous running conditions, but also by the acute traffic conditions that many of these cities face, where you need to keep the engine running or then keep the car running, air conditioning systems running. If you imagine a situation in India, in Delhi, in peak summer, if you have to shut your AC just to extend the range of your car, it's really going to be disastrous, right? So I think the adoption rates that way would get highly tempered because of some of these concerns.
I've been using the car for a couple of days and range anxiety did set in. I've been using it in this Delhi heat with the AC running full time, and they claim a range of 100 kilometers with AC on this car. So I took it from Delhi to Noida with the AC running a distance of 34 kilometers, and it used up only about 36% of charge. And then we ran around in Noida a little bit, about 15-16 kilometers. It used another 16% of battery, and this is with the AC. I kind of chickened out then when the charge came below 50% because a little bit of range anxiety set in. I thought, I'd be coming back at night, I have to use the headlights and the AC. So I charged it again 100%. But today, I haven't charged the car. I've gone all around town. It had 62% of charge in the morning. I went to Greater Kailash from Vasant Kunj, came back and went around Vasant Kunj, and I've got about 28% charge remaining right now, and this is with full-time use of the AC. I've noticed that with this car, per kilometer you use up about 1% of battery with the AC and with normal driving. And the best part is, if you're stuck in a traffic jam, you're not really using much power because the motor is not running. It's only the AC that's running, and that takes very little current.
Well, electric vehicles I think are ideal for India because of our stop-and-go driving, slower speeds that we have in our city centers, the fact that we import our oil, the fact that we have an abundant availability of other energy sources. I think those features and high price of oil make it ideal for India.
Why should I be getting into electric vehicle and compromise on anything? That's where the real answer would come. And what I'm hoping is that there are enough people in India, enough consumers in India who would think that I am, without compromising, making contribution to the environment, okay, then I think it's going to take off very well. And I truly believe the younger population in India has that mindset where they feel guilt about polluting, they feel guilt about consuming energy when they don't need to.
I think you should go for this scooty battery one because it's much more convenient, it's much more petrol saving, and obviously it's eco-friendly, I can say. So that's why, in order to, obviously in order to help your environment also, you can go for this scooty. And most of the people have asked me also that how many hours does it work and this and that. So if I think if its average is approximately 30 and 32, you can go for this because you don't need much.
Just do the 70-kilometer up and down trip to office and back. Something like this cost me 6.5 lakhs on road, but my annual fuel bill on this is just about 10,000 to 11,000 rupees on electricity charges alone. In fact, when I charged it, I noticed, I looked at the meter reading on my household meter. I charged the car overnight. It took about 3.5 hours of charge because it already had about 35% battery in it. And when I looked at the meter reading again in the morning, overnight we had consumed only about 5 units of electricity, which is including charging the car and using the fans and lights at home.
Basically what we're saying is that exactly what you said, that there's no reason why in an urban commute we have to take a vehicle with a 2-liter, 2.5-liter, 100 horsepower, 150 horsepower engine with all the pollutants and 0 to 60, which you can do nothing with because you cannot even use the power available here. So why do we need those kind of vehicles on our roads in large quantities for urban commute? And is it possible for us to make these kind of vehicles, in fact, not just as a personally owned vehicles, but is it possible that these vehicles become the last mile connectivity? And we create an ecosystem where you pick up the keys of the vehicle from the roadside, drive away and drop the vehicle once you reach that point. You don't even need a taxi service, right? It happens in many countries. It's not something that is, Zipcar is pretty much like that, very convenient, very well developed. The IT is developed to a point where it's not difficult to do it. We just have to create the system. The big problem in Mumbai and Delhi is parking. Yeah. So where do you park these vehicles for somebody to pick up? But you have to start somewhere. I mean, one can always find 100 reasons for not doing something, but there's only one way to get it done.
If you don't travel out of town that often, spending so much on a bigger car, a sedan or an SUV, keeping that at home, using that for office and back, and then traveling out maybe once in 2 months or once in 3 months, which a lot of people do, which is what the average person does, it would actually work out better to just hire a car, hire an Innova, hire a Xylo, head out of town and come back. For that one trip, you're paying about 6,000, 8,000 rupees, and the rest of the time you have no expenses. Whereas if you have a car like this only for office and back, again your running costs are very low. So if you sit down, work out the costs, this works out very cost effective. This car, for city use, it can do pretty well because yesterday climbing up some flyovers, in fact, it hit, the Mahindra claims a top speed of 81 kilometers per hour, but it actually hit 87 kilometers per hour.
What we have to do is we have to start seeing these vehicles on the road. Once we start seeing these vehicles on the road, it will feed on itself in terms of more and more people wanting to buy it, and in terms of more and more infrastructure coming on its own. I don't think the government will have to do too much to support the infrastructure.
Why can't India do that better? That should be a question coming up here, right? And so, yes, it is. I do think the mission is the first step. What we need today is probably a speedy implementation of that.
I need to go to Shahpur Jat right now, so let me check if this thing can make it. Shahpur Jat. Yeah. Okay, the green circle is where I can make a two-way trip, and the red circle is one-way ticket. So done. Let's see. So it's showing point A to point B. Okay, both of these things are within the green zone, so I can make it on a two-way trip. It says up and down trip is about 16 kilometers. So I would be able to make it, but with barely little charge left. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to be brave.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sometimes change becomes the inevitable thing, like it's an answer to a question, solution to a problem, or you just have to stop refining what you have and get inside the DNA and change the whole thing. But remember, this happens only sometimes, when you get a chance to be a part of the solution. For the rest of the time, we only are a part of the problem. For the automobile industry, the time is now.
We have to succeed because we have no choice. We have no choice.
I would love for Mahindra to be one of those OEMs as we move forward, who believe that that electric vehicles or hybrid electric vehicles is not something that we can afford to ignore. Okay, it's not because of market share and volumes and profit. Of course, those are important. We are, after all, in business. But it's also about the sustainability of the environment. It's also about what we're leaving behind. And I think there are enough companies, there are enough consumers, there are enough suppliers, there are enough people in the government who want to put this equation together. What we need is a Messiah.